Man, we're doing something we never do. We're traveling during peak travel season. We're talking Tokyo during spring break, during the Cherry Blossom Festival. Like, we are traveling with our 3 kids, 2 grandparents, 2 parents, all 7 of us trying to catch flights. And we figured now's a good time to show you all the stuff we never show you, and that's the behind the scenes stuff of flying standby. Welcome back, family travelers. We're so happy you're here. So we get asked a lot on our channel all of the kind of procedural stuff about flying standby. We always get asked, how do you do it? How do you plan for it? How do you pack for it? All these questions, though, like, they feel basic to us because we've been doing it for a while. Who knows what you know? So we're gonna show you the juicy bits behind the scenes, kind of all of the plan changes and the stress involved and how we pack to accommodate for all that. Whether you're a seasoned non-rev traveler or you're new to the airline family or maybe you're just curious, this video is for you, so stick around.
It's 2 weeks before our trip and now we're gonna start looking at flights. I'm gonna do this in real time so you can get the full authentic process. So every airline employee has access. They have a system of some kind to check to see how many open seats are on each flight. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm looking at the date that we intend to leave, and I hope we do leave because we already booked our hotel. Just to see, like, are there a lot of seats open or are we going to be a little bit screwed? So
A little bit screwed.
we're leaving from Chicago, so I'm looking at the direct flight to Tokyo from Chicago, and there are 20 seats on the plane, which, you know, it sounds like, okay, there are 5 of you and 2 grandparents, 7 of you total. You should be able to, you know, there's 20 seats. In 2 weeks, probably not gonna look so great for us. So that's not what you want to see, to be honest. So from there, what I probably would be doing is looking at different other airports that we could go through, because Chicago is not gonna happen for us, like, to be totally honest with you. So if we leave from Newark, there are 50 seats on the flight to Tokyo. The other thing about Newark is that there are actually 2 flights to Tokyo. One out of the Haneda airport and then another one out of the Narita airport, or 2 those airports. So that is good for us because that increases our odds. Having 2 flights, you know, potential rather than Chicago, we're just totally banking on one. So one of them had 50, the other one has 62. So that's a lot better than 20, to be honest with you. So I'm thinking right now, we probably are gonna have to fly to Newark. But if you wanna get there, like, sometimes that's what you gotta do.
One thing Brittany forgot to mention about the Chicago flight is that of those 20 seats that are available, 9 of them are in business, which sounds amazing. Except for our children aren't allowed to sit in business because when you fly non-rev, they have to be like 8, I think. And so it's either we say kiddos to the back and then mom and dad sit up front and let the kids, you know, fend for themselves, or we hope that there's a lot of upgrade eligible people. So who knows what will happen with that. So yeah, as much as I want to fly in business, I think we got to sit with our kids.
It's currently Monday, so our plan is to fly to Newark tomorrow night and then spend the night in Newark, and then on Wednesday fly from Newark to Tokyo. But we're gonna check the flights. We're gonna see where we stand here. On Wednesday, it looks like there are currently 6 seats to Narita.
6?
6.
Ooh.
We have 7 people, so if we look at the Haneda flight, which leaves a little bit later in the day, I'm hoping it will be better news. And it kinda is, yeah, kinda is. There are 27 seats for that flight open. Ugh. It's not great. It's not a great situation, which is why we chose to show you this one, because it's just like, it's not like, oh, roses and white picket fences. It gets rough. I mean, we knowingly chose to go during cherry blossom season, but we could be in for a real treat. I'm not feeling great about it. Alright, now we're going to take a short break from looking at all the flights and all the numbers and doing all the calculations, and we're going to talk about how do you pack as a standby traveler. When we fly domestic and you don't get on the flight, your bag is going to go whether you go or not. So we tend to be a little bit more cautious when we're flying domestic because we'll be stranded without our bag if we check it and then we don't get on the flight. It's a little bit different for international because your bag only goes if you go. So sometimes it's nice just to be able to check it and then breeze through the airport and not have to be weighed down by all that stuff. If we're flying international and we don't really have to be stressed about it because if we don't get on the plane, our bag's not going to get on the plane. The one asterisk here is that if you don't make the flight and your bag thus does not make the flight, you have to go check it, you have to go grab it and baggage claim and then go back through security if you're going to try for another flight. So it's kind of a pain in that way. And I think for today we're going to carry on simply because if we don't get our direct flight to Tokyo, we have to fly to Newark. So it would be a major pain to have to go get our bag at baggage claim if we don't get the flight to Tokyo and then go through security again. So that's kind of how that works from a standby perspective. We very rarely check unless we know for sure we're going to get on the flight, even though there's no such thing as a sure thing. But if we're reasonably confident, we'll check, but it doesn't happen very often. And then in terms of what we pack, Nick and I each bring a suitcase. We use the Travel Pro suitcases. I got a discount a long time ago at work, and so we tried them out. They last forever, they're durable, so we never looked back. We always get that every time we need to replace our suitcase. And then, oh, but you do have to get the ones with, what are those called, Nick? Spinners. You do have to get the spinners. Those are game changers. But one of the things we get asked pretty often is what we pack for the kids. So honestly, a 2-week trip to Japan is the same, essentially, packing as like a weekend trip because there's always like a base amount of things that you need. And then, you know, packing extra shirts for the extra days is not that much extra. So I'm not going to walk through everything that we pack for the kids, but let me highlight a few things. Car seats. Get the red TSA bags. I will link to it in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Put it in the red TSA bags and then you can gate check it. You get off the plane, it'll be right there waiting for you. You don't have to go to baggage claim usually to get it. And we strictly enforce the you carry your own suitcase rule. So they have to carry their own suitcase throughout the airport because otherwise it would be very difficult for us to get all of our stuff where it needs to go. And then they each have a backpack they bring. This is Everett's. They can pack whatever toys can fit in this bag and nothing more. They also carry their own backpacks. Strollers is another one of those hot topics. Amelia, we bring one of those travel sets that come with the car seat. Sometimes we bring like our Bob stroller, but we find it more efficient in the infant stage to just get like the travel set because you then have your car seat and then you have your stroller and they fit together, but then you also have the car seat. So it's just a little bit more easy. You have less things to take. We typically gate check strollers because then we can use it to carry Amelia through the airport and it's just a little easier than some people will do like the carriers through the airport, but then you have the carrier and you're also carrying all your luggage. It's just a little bit easier if you can just push the stroller through the airport. You could also hang bags and stuff on it, so it doubles as like a luggage rack, which is why we typically gate check strollers. And then for Everett, we use the GB Pocket stroller. We've had that one for a few years, and it fits under the plane seat in front of you, so you don't have to check it, which is super handy. If you don't need anything like crazy durable, like you have an older child, highly, highly recommend that one because it's just so compact and we love it. But with that, we need to finish getting ready because we are about to head to the airport.
As a side note, I'm realizing we've talked about planning all of these, like talking about flight loads and all of that stuff for the last couple of minutes. And maybe we haven't even explained what non-rev travel is. So let's do that first. Brittany works for an airline, and therefore we fly space available. So that's what it's called. And that just means if there's an open seat on a plane, we are free to board and jump on and go wherever we want. But if there are no seats, we obviously don't go. So it can be a lot of difficulty and buddy. What? This is gonna be a fun 14-hour flight. So basically how it works is we show up at the airport and we know basically how close we are to getting on. Like we know how many people are listed for the flight, that means they're signed up to go. And we know how many open seats there are. And then all of that planning goes to hell and we just see what happens. So that's what we're doing right now. Right now it looks okay, but things could go south in a hurry and we couldn't get seats, or worst case, we spread out along the whole plane, which, Millie, are you ready to fly solo? No? Or we could not get seats, which would be equally annoying. So we'll find out. Standby travel is like the best work benefit there is, I think. Outside of like health insurance, but that's a crappy one that you needed. But anyway, I digress. It's great. I think when Brittany first started, her boss said, it's the best, most expensive benefit you'll ever have. And I think we've really experienced that. But, you know, we get all these opportunities to go all these really cool places that we never would have done before. I mean, Amelia's already been to Ireland, as you've seen, just to practice going to Tokyo, which is wild to me. So we're really, really lucky. And this is just so much fun. But I'm also really nervous for today. Shouldn't be. My parents right now are in Newark trying to get to Haneda, and our flights leave at about the same time. So like if there was that Amazing Race song and like, you know, the map of the two plane paths going, that would be like what we would show.
There are 7 seats.
Tomorrow in LA.
Nobody's judging you.
It doesn't look so great.
What?
It's overbooked by 6.
The American flight? Out of LA?
Yup.
Okay.
Okay, Newark. The 1125 has 6 seats. But we would be 13th on the list.
Split up? But there are like 30 people that haven't boarded yet, so we'll just wait till the end and see. Hopefully there's somebody that got a little too happy in the bar, or...
All right, Levy, what's going on here?
Well, all of flights, there's been no room. It's way past our bedtime, and all that happened to me. Got picked up early for no reason.
So where we're at is that we got seats on the direct flight from Chicago
But
to
something
Tokyo,
happened.
but they were all separated. Hi, Everett. Okay, why don't we get down, buddy?
Everett would be alone. I would be alone. Dad would be alone. But Mom and Amelia would be together.
So we said no dice. We're not going to be able to do that because I can't think of anything worse than...
And then I can't be by myself.
No. That was more for the other people because, you know, if you're flying standby, you also have to be considerate of the people. So instead, we are flying to Newark. It's our flight leaves at 9:30 p.m. and we're going to try to see if we can get there tomorrow through Newark. It's kind of our last hope, so I hope we get on.
When we were trying to get to Ohio, like, there was a storm, then the president, then someone got sick on the plane.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
And
It was a whole thing. And
yeah.
so we should get the Newark flight. There's like 32 seats. So that should be okay.
And we only have 5 groups.
And we only have 5 of us. So we should be okay getting that one. And then we'll catch up with you tomorrow to see if we actually make it to Tokyo or if we are stranded. Maybe we'll be in New York for the whole time.
We're not at the airport anymore, and that much is obvious, right? My God, that turned into a dumpster fire. And so we just kind of stopped filming. It was all getting so repetitive. Where we last left you in Newark, we figured, okay, let's fly to San Francisco. The flights to Tokyo look pretty decent from San Francisco. We'll get out later that day. That didn't happen. That did not happen. We got to San Francisco and oversold, and nothing. So we spent the night in San Francisco. Then we got up and tried to get to Tokyo again. No dice. So Osaka it was. We flew into Osaka, took the train in from Osaka to Tokyo, and so that was a journey. So flying standby is not always glamorous. It took us 3 days and 2 hotel stays and crossing the country twice to get to the right island, and then had to take a bullet train to finish the way. So if you're ever wondering what it's like to fly standby or how much effort it is, sometimes it can go real south real fast. So thanks for joining along. We're gonna have a whole bunch of videos about Japan coming up, so we're pretty jazzed about that. We hope you stick around, and yeah, that's that.